welcome to another episode of the Starter Girls Podcast with your host, Jennifer Loading.
And Brianna Dreles. And we are the Starter Girls.
I love that. Where extraordinary decisions produce extraordinary results. These are our friends, these are your friends, and they are living the extraordinary. This episode is brought to you by Walt Mills, photographer of Glad Models Agency. If you are here in the Dallas or surrounding area and looking for some photography work, check out Walt Mills. You can learn more about him and his work at photosbywalt.com. All right, we're going to get things started. I'm super excited. We got to get this started. All right, today is a great day to be brave. You might as well start now. You have the power to change your circumstances any day you decide. Let today be that day. Rise up, be amazing, be you, do you. All right, my friends. Well, first of all, we got Brianna here again. I'm so excited. This is like our third episode now. Like, we're going to be like masters at this. And I'm like, I keep thinking we're going to get this all figured out. I'm going to like bring you into some more of this. So I'm just excited to just like keep evolving this whole podcast. But we do got to welcome our guest onto the show because I'm super excited to bring her on here today. Christina Ruggiero is the founder and CEO of Vitaza, an online small business platform with over 30 years of IT and management consulting experience. Christina has worked in technology, finance, sales, and operations across various industries. Above all, this is my favorite part of her bio. Above all, she says she's an entrepreneur at heart. It all started with a flower business in elementary school, a calligraphy business in high school, and plans for an IT outsourcing firm for small businesses back in the 90s. And this is before this was even really thought of. Over years of writing business plans and consulting for startups and small businesses, Christina learned that even with the ways and means and a strong support system, it is difficult to start and run a small business. Mm-hmm. To reach more business owners and make a more significant impact, she's now taken all her knowledge and resources to build Vitaza.com. So incredible. I didn't want to say anything else about this, Christina, because I wanted you to come on here and tell us all about this. Tell our audience what this is. I know what it is, but Brianna has no idea yet, and our audience does. So we want to hear what this platform is about. So kind of walk us through this. Tell us what it is and who you're serving with this particular program that you put together.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate it. So Vitaza is an online platform, like you said, for small businesses. The goal is driving small business progress and community connection. And in doing that is really we have kind of two sides of it. The driving small business progress is all around providing all of the business tools and all the fundamentals and everything a small business needs to run and manage their small business. The community connection part is kind of multifaceted. It has the element of a social platform for small businesses where they can connect, along with part of the niche of Vitaza is geared at local businesses, those brick and mortar, those in neighborhood community plazas, and really building the community amongst them as well as bringing local community to them. So there's that perspective of it. The ideal, customers or subscribers on our site are those small businesses, typically geared at that kind of less than 20 employee, small business, where they don't have a lot of resources to tap into. They don't have the economies of scale. They don't often have the budgets. They bear the pressure of the world on their shoulders because they're a small business and they're trying to take care of their employees who need to take care of their families. They're the overachievers, those that really want to thrive and grow their businesses, those that even want to transform their businesses. So, within the business, what we call the business essentials portal, side of it, there's everything they need to run the business, which is your day-to-day operations, grow your business, which is everything from marketing, sales enablement, growing and learning and understanding your industry better, customer experience, and then changing and leading the business is leadership skills and what you need as an entrepreneur, being able to protect your business, as well as if they want to start transforming their business, do they want to scale? Do they want to, maybe merge with another company? Do they need funding? So right now it's not available yet, but we'll have a whole venture capital side of it that will, ultimately help. So I think that kind of captures the essence of most of it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
That's incredible. So moving forward, when you add that venture capital component to it, is the intent to have those venture capitalists feed into the community and support the small businesses with the capital? Is that kind of the idea, or am I misinterpreting that?
Yeah, that will come. I think really if you look at, I guess kind of one thing I overlooked was when we talk about the social network side of it, it's a social marketplace. So it's not just for small businesses to go to a place and chat with each other. It's also where they can go to promote their business. And think of like LinkedIn, you can go and, you can meet other like-minded professionals. Vitaza is like-minded small businesses, but where they can also go and advertise their services. So we have a vendor platform where they can go and actually sell business-to-business services. And part of that, we'll also have like outsourced payroll and, additional service providers that will provide capabilities to the members as well. So venture capital would just be really an extension of that.
This is good. I think the thing that I like about it really too is that she's taking, because it's kind of like the resources again. When you've got, it's kind of like we had on the other show that launched out a few weeks ago, we were talking about taking resources and helping people with like whole body health before they become entrepreneurs. She's bringing in another piece too, where she's saying, okay, I'm taking all these resources that I have for these business owners. And if they need to find somebody that's doing this particular service, it's within there. They can find it within there. So I think that that's so essential because so many times as small business owners, you don't know all the pieces that you need to do to be a small business owner, right?
Absolutely.
Like how do you create an LLC? Like I had to learn how to do that. Okay, where's the internet? Let's start digging up. How do you do an LLC? So it's great that she's having that connection piece to connect people and then also having these resources over here. So I really like that.
I totally agree. Yeah, that's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How long has it been up and going?
Well, it was envisioned about 5 years ago. The last 2 years have been, just grinding away at the development of it and a lot of trial and error, and just getting it to the way I wanted it to be. So it's been in beta probably for about the last 6 months, and we've got a little over 100 members on the site right now. As of the first of the year, we have started now a social media campaign to actually actively start building it. There's, some things that we're still tweaking, but, we're not going to perfect it day one. So it is very newly launched, in terms of a social media campaign to start driving, the membership to the site. And by the way, there's no other platform out there like Vitaza. And some of the members that I've had on the site, they've looked at a number of the other networking platforms that are out there, and they really don't give them what Vitaza does. Like LinkedIn, they say it's too much for the corporate world. It's all professionals that are looking. Some of the others out there are just not as authentic as what we have on Vitaza. So we've already, just with the small number of members that we have, already gotten really good feedback.
That's incredible, and I can totally relate to that statement as far as LinkedIn is concerned. I have a lot of friends on LinkedIn and I love LinkedIn, but I don't spend a whole lot of time on it due to what I do in my industry. So I can see how something like Vitaza would be very desirable for small businesses and for entrepreneurs.
Yeah. And LinkedIn, and I would agree with you too on the LinkedIn. I find LinkedIn, there's just so much spamming that goes on within there.
So much.
And it is very much driven. And the thing is that in the space that we work in, I think authenticity goes across the board in any company. I don't know where we get this idea that we don't need to be authentic. And I find that a lot of the activity that goes on, I'm not going to speak for everybody in LinkedIn because there are great people in there, but a lot of what goes on in there is a lot of inauthentic stuff. And so it's really hard to even build connections, I think, a lot of times within there, because some of these people you never talk to, and then they're just basically sending in these messages in your inbox and wanting to build a relationship through an inbox, and That just doesn't work.
I don't
so,
see.
And her platform is really good about trying to build more of that community.
It's amazing. Yeah. Well, yeah, because I don't see LinkedIn as a communication, like as an actual relationship builder.
Right.
Like maybe a connection builder, right? It's just the connect. Oh, I'm connected. And if I need to reach out, I can send a message and try and make that happen. But maybe down the road, build connections. Yeah. Like, I don't know. It's confusing, but I think this sounds incredible.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
This is good stuff. Good stuff, Christina. So I want to kind of touch upon, because I'm looking at when I read your bio about the entrepreneur, and I love this piece of it, because I think entrepreneurs, they're accidental. We talked about that, accidental entrepreneurs. And then there are people, I think, that are just creators. They just from day one come out and they're like, I'm going to have a business. I don't know what it's going to be. I'm just going to create until I figure out and find that masterpiece, right? So I love all of this about you. I want to know, because you came from the corporate world. Am I correct? You came from that outside in corporate and kind of moved into this. So what really, I guess, and you might have said some of this earlier, but what kind of, I guess, inspired you? Because you were thinking about this kind of outsourcing IT stuff in the 90s before this was even really real. I mean, internet didn't even come around until 95 when AOL came out. Like, I remember AOL. Like, it was like, you got mail. And I'm like, what is you got mail? Yes, the dial-up modems, yes. So I want to know kind of what, sort of inspired this for you?
Well, are you talking about inspiring Vitaza, or inspired how I got to some of the visions that I had?
Maybe tell us about, I say Vitaza because that's what we're talking about, but if there's a link between these, because I think sometimes the little dots connect. I mean, like I said, you were born and you came out and you were business minded. And I don't know when you said elementary, you and I might have been really good friends when we were little, if we lived by each other, because I joke about this because and Chris has heard me talk about this a lot, that I, as a kid, was making businesses. My friends did not want to play with me because they wanted to do Barbies and I wanted to create businesses. So you and I would have been really good friends.
Exactly. Well, yeah. And I asked that question because it is true. There are a lot of the dots connect from early on. And yes, I've always been very business minded. In fact, when I was a teenager, I was not into, whatever trend was going on. Actually, Dynasty was my show because I wanted to be successful and it was all about business. So
I remember Dynasty.
But really at the end of the day, when I, talking about the vision I had back in the 90s, even when I was in high school, I was always programming. I was, writing programs to organize my mother's coupons. When I graduated high school, I went to night school at a university and I got a job in a data center. And within 3 months, I was promoted. I was, became a microcomputer specialist, and I was running massive programs at, 18, 19 years old. And I went to San Francisco after that. I worked for Booz Allen and Hamilton. I took over in Oracle. It was $1 million government muni transportation program project. I took that over in a couple of months, and I was completely running that program. I taught myself Oracle programming in 3 months. So I think, from a technology perspective, it's just always come very natural to me. And that's why, a lot of where Vitaza stems from is the fact that, and maybe inspired by, is there are so many small businesses out there that don't have necessarily the knowledge or the access to technology. And like you mentioned, I've spent a lot of my career in the corporate world. Some of it was me being an independent consultant, some of it as an employee. But the big corporations have access to huge marketing budgets, amazing technology and, thought leadership and access to all of that. The small businesses don't. And we are at a pivotal point in our world in technology. And we've gone as far as we have, but we are at now a turning point, especially even with 5G coming out, for instance, that really our world is going to, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and, kind of diverting back to when I was younger. One of my favorite shows when I was a kid was The Jetsons. And, that was the future. And that's where we're headed right now. And these small businesses, I want to be able to give them the ability to tap into those resources. And it's not just technology, by the way, because I also had experience working as an acting CFO, and I had a lot in the finance side involved in venture capital, and I've had my stockbroker license. And, there's that whole finance side of the world that also small businesses, that started a company because of something they were passionate about, but it's not like they went to school and got an MBA and learned how to do all of these things. So I want to be able to share the knowledge and the experience that I have with these other small businesses so they can be successful.
I love that.
Man, that's incredible.
She has that piece that, yes, I don't have. I don't have the technology, Christina. I'm the other side of the creative. That's why I say we'd have been good friends, because you pick up the other piece and I'd have the other piece. See?
Yeah, it's amazing.
I come up with all the visions, but I just don't always know how they're going to totally iron out in the financial side of all that stuff.
Right.
So as far as the support, when people are in it's an app, correct? Or they can access it as a website? Okay. Online platform.
Yeah, it's an online platform right now. We will be launching it once we get to a certain number of subscribers. We will launch it as an app. Right now, everything is business to business, but ultimately, there will be a point in time where we do launch a business to consumer app that they have access to business profiles, because we also have a business directory on it.
Good stuff.
Very cool.
Good stuff.
So when people are inside the platform and they want resources, is it similar to like an online course? Like if they want to learn something from you regarding finances or regarding, something else, how do they access the resources, the learning stuff?
So that's in the Business Essentials portal, and it's broken into the components I mentioned earlier: run, grow, lead, and change your business. And within each of those are different modules that they can. So for instance, run your business is, accounting and payroll, benefits and HR, IT and security, and office and administration. So if there's a topic, if you're looking at what can I do to better, to more efficiently run my business, you're going to go to that section. You'll pick whichever area that you want to focus on. And then one of the things that I believe also inspire me for building Vitaza is that, to me, I personally think Google is antiquated. We're here in 2021, and when we want to get access to information, we go to a place where we type in a couple words, and it gives us hundreds or thousands of pages of text-based information. And, in Vitaza, one of my drivers was trying to simplify small business, and in bringing these resources to people when you don't know what to look for, and to really be able to guide and coach them by giving them a lot of structure and just the access to information that they need, not overwhelming information overload, and then not knowing what are the right things that they should be looking at. So within each module, there is, and everybody also has different styles of learning, and, we'll have different purposes for going to the site. So there's thought leaders, there's must-read books, there's learning modules. Well, the learning part we haven't incorporated yet, but there will be like online courses like you mentioned. There will be industry organizations, events. We also have in the groups portion where, under the social, there are business groups. So when people join groups and there's collaboration, and if it happens to be on a topic of accounting, that collaboration work stream will show up under like the accounting section. So you can see what kind of things people are talking about in that topic. So it really gives them the right information, limited to what they need, and in different formats and types of information that they may want to access.
So good. So good. Thank you for sharing all that.
That's amazing.
So I want to ask you a question, because obviously I always ask the success and the mindset questions. Those are my favorite questions, because I got to get into your head a little bit and figure out how you like doing all this.
Right.
So you have clearly had a lot of success, and her bio was impressive. I didn't want to put it all in here because I wanted you to talk about it, because I think there's something powerful about talking about those things, because you own your superpower, right? Like you own that. So I wanted to let you talk about some of that stuff, but I do want to ask you, because you've had some incredible success. I want to know, when you are going after something, and I'm talking about maybe from the time you were a little kid, I don't know, for all the way back, when you're going after something, what does this look like for you? What is this process, this headspace? How's this coming together for you?
Well, it's very consuming. I'm very narrowly focused on the things that I want to accomplish. I am a very visual person, so everything is written down. In fact, in my office here, I have whiteboards with, black tape and categories and different colored Post-its everywhere. And, I use a lot of tools. I use mind maps. So everything is written, I do Post-its because then I can move and, reorganize things based off of what I'm working on. So a lot of it is just really getting it out of my head and on paper. I actually used to get teased when I was little because I wrote everything down, and I used to have lists for everything, but it's those lists that are actions, and they're things that, actually happen when you write them down. And I also say too, when, even my family knows if something is not in my calendar, it does not happen. So my kids, my family, they send me meeting invites for everything. And so, I'm very action oriented, but it's once I get it out of my head, get it into a format that I can then execute and move forward. But it's the mind maps and the whiteboards and that kind of stuff.
So good. I was thinking about you the whole time.
I know,
Brianna.
you're speaking my love language.
She
right
does
now.
these brain dumps. I was totally thinking of you the whole time. I'm like, my brain is just like processing all this. I'm visual too, but I don't necessarily do that. Like I do. Like I like to write things down. I do to-do list every day. And I'm like you, Christina, that it has to be in my calendar. My kids will come to me and be like, I told you this. And I'm like, let me pull my phone. Was it in my calendar? Because if it was in the calendar, I didn't know about it.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. But I was totally thinking about you with all the list and all of that.
So I have to ask, is your calendar old school, like pen to paper, or is it digital?
Oh no, everything is digital.
She's good.
And everything's synced to every device. And I have, I use Microsoft Teams. I'm a very big advocate of that. And actually, that's a place where I use for a lot of collaboration. So if we're talking about tools and how we use things, it's Todoist is a great, to-do app. I use Outlook. I use Microsoft Teams. I actually have a post that's going to be coming out that is going to be all my top 6 favorite tools.
She does cool posts too. Ooh. They're very detailed. I love it. I do see your stuff,
cool.
Christina. But yes, I'm like totally thinking, do you use a paper calendar?
Oh yeah, I'm all about paper.
Okay, you know what's so funny? I'm going to make you both laugh because I'm the same way. Like, okay, so the background that I was in before, the industry that I was in, we had calendars that we could purchase from the company. So I've always been like paper calendar person. Well, finally, about a year ago, because what would happen is when I would be out and about, people would send me text messages, right? And to book things. And I learned that if I could click on my iPhone on the time and the day, I could schedule an appointment. And I was like, oh, this is so exciting, because what would happen is I'd look at the text message and I'd go home and forget to put it in the calendar. Yeah. And then guess what would happen? I'd have an appointment, didn't know I had it because I'd forget to transfer. So I finally got it in my phone. And I've been thinking, I've been pretty crafty, but my to-do list is still on paper.
Yeah.
It's still paper.
My workaround is, if they send me the calendar request, I don't answer it until I'm in front of my calendar. Like I just leave it. I leave it there. I don't touch it. And it says unread message or unread email or whatever it is. And then as soon as I've got my big old, menu in front of me.
How big's your calendar? I'm cracking up.
Oh, it's a 365-day planner, and it's a big notebook.
Yes, it's all good.
8.5 by 11 notebook, and when you open it up,
it's like
it's twice that.
I will say I do like paper planners though, because you can see,
I color code everything. So when you're telling me you have colors, and I'm like, I love this girl.
Yes. Highlight. We need to have a highlighter party.
Yeah. Well, Outlook, by the way, you can color code all of your different invites, different colors. So, and for me, when someone sends me a calendar invite, it automatically accepts and goes right into my calendar.
She's so good. She knows all the technology stuff.
Yeah,
that's where I get
it.
I struggle with technology because I have to learn it. And I'm such a kinesthetic learner that I don't want to learn it. I just want to jump in and do it. So if it gets to be too complicated, then I might just do it. Somebody else just do it and figure it out for me.
this is what Vitaza is for.
Yes, exactly.
To help you with all of those things and improving your productivity and making you more efficient and giving you the right tools to use.
That's why we love you, Christina.
That's awesome. Sounds like an incredible platform.
It's all good. All right. Well, I have another fun question I want to ask you. And then if you got some more, we can jump them in here. But I want to ask you real quick, Christina, you said so many great things today. So if we were going to sum this up, what I want to know from you is, how do you define success? What does that look like to you?
Well, if we go back to what I said earlier about, Vitaza driving small business progress and community connection, that's what it's really all about, is enabling these businesses. Especially when you look at what we've gone through this year with COVID and how it's impacted small business owners, and it's not easy for them. So, so that's just one scenario that we're living through right now. But, we've got a big future ahead of us, especially, like I mentioned, with the technology and I just really want to enable them and make them successful. And, getting the members on the platform would be in and of itself a huge success, because I know once we can get them there, it's really going to help change their lives. The people that I've already helped, they're so grateful because of how simple I can make things for them. So that's, driving the small business progress. And then the community connection is, enabling them to make those connections. And, it's not just about making connections, but it's what you do with those connections. And, how do you empower them and help them share creative ideas and exchanges? And, look at the way the platforms that are out there today. You have Airbnb and Uber and different platforms out there that bring together different types of resources that, one needs a service and another wants to buy the service. So, some of it is that way, but there's also, doing exchanges of, maybe a business owner lives in one place and they're looking to relocate, or people want to start exchange employees because people want to move different places, or people want to come together and build a franchise, or, once these people get on the platform, it's just the opportunities are really going to be endless for them. So, it's that community, but, when we focus on the local brick and mortar aspect of it, it's also how do we build those local communities? And for those that are in those neighborhood plazas, how can we, cross-pollinate them so that they're cross-selling to each other? How can we bring in, local events and activities, and maybe farmers markets or Friday night food and wine festivals? So, haven't even gotten to, touch on any of that stuff, but the opportunities really are endless.
We're getting to say something.
We're getting a fist pump.
Because she said cross-pollinate, and you are like the only person I've heard say that in a business world. Like, I say that all the time. Like, I've never heard anybody say that. My gosh. I was like, she just said that. I say that. That's so funny. Awesome. Oh my goodness, so good.
Yeah, you're getting fist pumps.
That's why we started laughing, because Chris is back here giving us these in the back.
So great.
It's like audience participation here today.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Well, it's such an incredible support for small businesses. And the vision that you had for that, gosh, you said you've been working on it for 5 years or so, as far as conceptualizing it.
Yeah.
And now it's a reality, right? Mm-hmm. That's incredible.
It is.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So I have a quick question for you. So here on Starter Girls, we like to highlight how ordinary people, such as yourself and us, how we can live extraordinary lives because of extraordinary decisions that we've made. And you have obviously been on this course, like trucking for a long time, but I'm just curious, are there like moments, can you look back in your journey and see like pivotal choices that you made that really got you to where you're at right now?
It's hard to answer that question because there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
And it's probably not so much as necessarily choices that I've made as it is people that have come into my life and influenced me. And, and it's those opportunities and getting, you just have certain people that inspire you, and there's certain things that people will say or do, and it's something that just sticks with you. And it's like, you just know that either it was the advice they gave you, or just something that they randomly said, but it just kind of stuck in your brain, and you kind of, I'll give you a perfect example of what I'm alluding to there is with regard to the local plazas. Someone that I used to know was in that industry and, owned a number of plazas. And it was back when 08, 09, when everything was tanking. And I remember he told me that, the plazas are only as good as their tenants. And so it really should be a partnership that the plaza owners should really empower and want their businesses to be successful, because that's the only way that they will be successful. So, and I've also, which I haven't even mentioned either, had a background in commercial real estate and just a passion. I've had my real estate license since I was 19 years old. So, so that kind of, influenced the whole plaza side of it. And, this is really getting maybe off on a tangent here, but I don't know how many people frown on or look to psychics, but I actually went to one before who told me that one day I was going to take everything that I knew and put it together and do very well for myself. And, that was something that always stuck with me too. And when I really, I didn't build Vitaza because of that, but, it's just interesting that I was told that a long time ago. And really what I've built is everything that is the embodiment of me as a person and all of the experience that I've ever had.
Yes. This was the best part of the podcast right there, Christina. That's the me-worthy part right all there.
I've got chills.
Yes.
Because that's what it's all about,
No
right?
kidding. And she said like the people that come into your life. Oh my gosh. Because what is the thing we always say? Like if you're stuck, I used to always tell people when I work with them on my teams, like if you are stuck and you don't know where to go, you need to get out the door. You need to meet somebody. Because that's your direction. Like you've got to meet people, because so many times, even like in my coaching training, I talk about like one of the essential steps is about your circle of influence, getting out and meeting people and putting them in your tribe, because you can't get places where you want to be by yourself. It is a lonely road by yourself, and you can't build. I believe you can't even really build businesses totally without collaboration. So this was the best part of this whole thing right here.
Well, and
exactly, but that exactly goes to the business network, on Vitaza.
Absolutely.
And the embodiment, the ideal thing I think in life is when you can be able to take what is important to you, your core values, who you are, and be able to create something with that. And
your gifts and talents all combined.
And because at that point, you're working in what I call flow. You're basically working in your purpose and your passion. And now you no longer have to, like everything you've said today, like you've totally sold us on this whole platform, right? And you probably didn't even have to work other than, maybe having to come on this show. But you probably speak about this like in your sleep pretty much. Like, this thing, you're passionate about it. And that's the thing. I think when you're working in that space, you no longer have to really force that out because you're passionate and it's truly who you are, embodies your values,
So great.
So I think this part was so good.
This is amazing.
So good.
Yeah.
Well, and actually just to add a little additional on top of that, I'm a Cancer sign, and as a Cancer, we're very all about home and family. And, my daughters call me Mama Bear, Mama Duck. I always call my daughters my little ducklings. Even in my career, I've been called the mother hen, and, with my clients and things like that. But, I think a lot of my personality in kind of being a mother figure, to also so many people that surround me is, that this is part of my nature. So to want to help these business owners, I almost kind of feel like, I can be the mama bear to all of the businesses and, catch them when they fall and, help give them or point them in the right direction and, really, get joy out of seeing them successful.
So good.
Incredible.
Thank you, Christina. This was
you.
Awesome. All right. So I'm going to we got to ask her a rapid fire. We got to do a few fun questions here on you, Christina.
Okay. Shake it
up. We're going to be a little different now. This is all, this has all been so good, but I love this part of the show too, just because we get to ask you fun things. All right. So are you a morning or night person?
That depends. So I can be both. And so most people, that's a cut and dry answer. For me, it's really not, because when I'm in the zone and my focus is on my health, I will get up every day at 5 a.m. and go to the gym, and that will start my day. And it's like my power hour, and it gets me going. But then there's the other side of me when I need to flip into that. And when I'm focused on my business and I'm working late hours at night, I will get my second wind at 10 o'clock at night, and I will go till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So I kind of burn the candle at both ends, because I can do that and still get up at 7 in the morning if I need to.
So. She does what she's got to do. She's a mom. Hello.
Exactly.
That's what happens when you're a mom. I'm up every day. Brianna's up every day.
I'm up early.
We're ready to
but
roll.
I go to bed early.
Do you? Yeah. Yes. I do sometimes. I was up till midnight last night, and 5 o'clock got here too early this morning. I was kind of, I don't know, I might have looked pretty green today. I don't know. All right. I saw an animal back there, so I kind of probably already know this answer, but we're going to ask it anyways. Are you a cat or dog person?
Definitely a dog person.
We don't have to ask her if she has a dog, because we already saw the dog. Yeah. We always ask this question. It's so fun. They'll be like, I'm a dog person. Then we're like, do you have a dog? And they're like, no. But if I had an animal, it'd be a dog. Maybe I should ask. Maybe I should change it to be like, are you a cat, a dog, or a rabbit person? Because rabbits are pretty popular too, you know? See if anybody answers that one. We'll see if anybody gets that one. All right. This is why we have fun, Christina, see? All right, what's your favorite food?
Probably pizza.
Pizza.
Can't live without pizza.
Okay, New York style or Chicago style or
coal-fired. Definitely New York style.
Yeah.
And I like it nice and doughy and lightly baked.
I'm hungry.
I am too.
None of us have had dinner yet. We're talking about pizza now. I haven't had pizza in so long. Oh my goodness, sounds good. All right, and one fun last question for you, Christina. You have to think out of your box a little bit here. If you could be any superhero or character for one day, what would you pick?
My first reaction to that is it just actually brings a story back, because we were sitting at the dinner table. My daughters are all, they're all grown. I'm actually a grandmother. I have a grandbaby. And we were actually talking about, what would be your superpower? And, I couldn't really answer the question. And the next day I actually got a mug that says my superpower is being a Gigi. So that's what they call me, is Gigi for grandmother. But so really, I guess that would be my real superpower. But if I could pick any superhero out there, I would probably be like Iron Woman.
I love it.
Ooh.
She's an awesome Gigi, though. I would not have even known that. How awesome is that? So I bet you're a great Gigi, I'm sure. I like that. She's like the glamorous grandma.
She's like, hey.
Well, they call it Glamma, but I know I go by Gigi.
Right. I'm like,
Grandma,
my kid. I have 2 adult children now too, and so my youngest is 16. And I'm like, my oldest is getting married soon. I'm like, I'm not ready for it to be a grandma or anything. I'm not ready yet. I don't want to yet. But I hear it's great. I hear being a grandma is like way cooler than being a mom. Like I hear you have so much fun with the babies because you can send them home.
Oh,
so
exactly.
Is that true, Christina? Is that true? I know your kids are still. You've got a little while. So
just it's true. You get to spoil them and
give them lots of cotton candy and
and give them back to the mom.
Yeah, and then you get to send them home.
Right. A lot of my friends, it's crazy because a lot of my friends that I went to high school with now are grandmothers, and it just freaks me out because I've known them since we were so little, and it's like now they're grandmas, We're like, and I'm like, how did my kids become adults? Like, how did that happen? Like, I don't think I've gotten older, but they have. Like, what's up with that? So, anyways, this has been awesome.
This has been so great.
Christina, thank you so much for sharing all this with us. And I'm excited. You got me excited. Like, I'm going to have to go back home now. Like, I need to put a blog on your site. Like, I need to get back on there. I've been on. So, it's been awesome.
All right. Well, thank you. It's been great being on the show. Thank you for having me. And
absolutely.
Talk to you soon.
Yeah. So, hang tight. So, would you want to tell our listeners, of course, do you have anything that you wanted to add on there?
I just wanted to make sure people can find you.
Yes.
So, if you could tell us website or what's the best way to become a member, or how that works, etc. So we want to get people there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Vitaza.com. It's Vitaza.com. And you just can register. It's free to join. There's a paid membership which gives you the additional capabilities, but to get on the platform and network and post your business listing and access the Business Essentials portal, it's all free. So.
And are you on social media?
Yep, Instagram and Facebook.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thanks you for asking that. We almost forgot that part today.
That
We
would've
had
been
so much
horrible.
good conversation. I totally forgot to ask that part. So thank you for catching that. So do want to say to our listeners, of course, if you enjoy our show, please be sure you give us a rating both on iTunes. Check us out on Facebook. We're also on iHeart, Amazon, and hit that subscribe button on the YouTube. And with that, I'm going to leave you guys with a couple final thoughts here. Create, not for the money, not for the fame, not for the recognition, but for the pure joy of creating something and sharing it. I think that fits really well with today, and that's by Ernest Barbaric. I guess that's his name, Barbaric. All right, you guys, in order to have success, you must start, and that start begins with the decision. You guys take care, be safe, and be kind to one another. We'll see you next time.